This at least made me laugh a little bit at the beginning. Scott Bessent with that was at one of these economic forums and talking to the CNBC host about the Trump economy, the one that sucks, the one that they keep lying to you and telling you is in a golden age, while at the same time, you don't have a job and also prices are skyrocketing. That economy. Scott Bessent tried floating his latest lie about inflation.
When I was on Squawk Box last week, Becky said, well, Susan Collins at the Boston Fed says this. And, that her people in her district are having an affordability problem. I should have said, well, she's in a red state. Affordability is worse. In a blue state, affordability is worse in a blue state.
We can debate that, but keep going.
There's no debate. The number 50 basis points higher inflation, the 10 highest, the inflation rates, they are in blue cities, but
Just so you know, because I went to look at this, this is the Joint Economic Committee, since 2021. The highest inflation of the past 4 years has been in red states, especially Florida.
I'm talking about current.
Current. Not over the past 4 years.
Right. Today.
Okay. I would think 4 years would be a reasonable trend line to look at.
Scott Bessent apparently has, zero awareness. And he doesn't mind apparently being embarrassed in front of everyone with this same lie about, inflation is peaking in only blue state areas. I'm sorry, blue cities and then blue states. What a ridiculous thing to say. What a dumbass he is. So when confronted with that lie, because it's pretty easy to dispel because he keeps telling it, he was called out and suddenly the story shifts to more reasons why his lie is somehow reality.
Today it is 50 basis points higher. So anyway, and look, the people are voting with their feet. I have the American people on my side. That New York, Illinois, California, Massachusetts are depopulating.
And they're going to places in Florida, like Florida, where interest rates inflation's up 22% over the last 4 years.
Well, inflation is up 25% nationally, so it's lower.
I believe in New York it was 19%.
Sorry?
I believe in New York it was 19%.
I don't think that's right.
We can go through the math.
But
oops, fucked up again. Sorry about that. When he was again confronted with reality, it was say what? What's that again?
I believe in New York it was 19%.
Sorry?
I believe in New York it was 19%.
What I was saying is that you're a liar. What I'm saying is that this line that you're giving me is a lie. What I'm saying is that we shouldn't listen to you anymore. At that moment, I think it's Sorkin. I believe that's the CNBC anchor's name. His last name at least is Sorkin. At that point is then when the next step comes. Thank you, Mr. Treasury Secretary. Get the fuck off the stage because we don't need to hear any more of your lies. Anything else you say here will ruin our credibility. And if anybody takes anything else that you say from this forum that we've just discovered you're lying at, why are we talking to you? This is supposed to be something productive. This is supposed to be informative, not full of lies. Step off to the stage to the left. The man with the black outfit on, that's the stagehand, will see your sorry ass off. When are we going to start kicking liars off of stages and off of platforms to stop lying to us? That would be rude. Instead, what they want you to do is listen to this same president surrounded by all these yes men and women say this type of shit.
It's a con job. I think affordability is the greatest con job. They look at you and they say, affordability. They don't say anything else. Everyone says, oh, their prices were so low. No, they had the worst inflation.
Hold on. I'm going to play that again. Look at Ted Cruz's sorry bitch ass. Look at him standing over Donald Trump's shoulder as Donald Trump talks about how affordability, the word that he never heard of before, is a con job.
It's a con job. I think affordability is the greatest con job. They look at you and they say, affordability. They don't say anything else. Everyone says, oh, their prices were so low. No.
What is he talking about? What does he mean? What is it that Ted Cruz is shaking his head at? They say affordability. What are you nodding your head about? What is it you agree with? What's in your head outside of This is a family show. I'm not going to say all the things that I'd like to say about Ted Cruz, but I will remind you that Ted Cruz got his ass kicked by Donald Trump. And Ted Cruz said he's never going to support this guy. Ted Cruz said he's an outright liar. Ted Cruz's wife was called ugly, and the beans would be spilled on her by this guy that he's standing over and nodding his head over right before he kneels and kisses his ass. And he has to go home to his wife again. That'll, I guess, ask him, how was it? And he has to say, it was great. We talked about you a little bit more today. That's Ted Cruz. And those are the type of people that embolden and also help this guy out. But they're never right. They just kind of keep saying things. It would be embarrassing if people called them out enough. Instead, after Donald Trump says that affordability is somehow this con job, people like Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, which I don't know why he's talking about it, he gives, the complete opposite perception of what it is Donald Trump thinks about affordability.
By the way, at the same time, if I can bring the price of that vehicle down, the American consumer is a winner. And so President Trump has, and I hear him talk about it publicly, and I hear him talk about it privately, he cares about how with the affordability for the American consumer. He gets frustrated when we saw the inflation of the last administration, the price increases because of, say, fuel economy standards. There was no affordability. And he's actually working to make these products more affordable for the American consumer, going so far, and I was just telling Phil this, with energy dominance and bringing gas prices down as well.
Are gas prices down? Is he working on affordability? Because apparently privately and publicly, all Sean Duffy hears Donald Trump talk about is affordability. He talks about it, but as he's talking about it, do any ideas come forward outside of how can we fool people into thinking that we give any kind of damn about this? Because again, there's talk and there's rhetoric and there's propaganda, and then there's reality.
Big miss on the ADP payrolls. The private payroll company saying private payrolls shed 32,000 workers in November. That's the fourth negative number in the past 6 months for this series. Take a look here. The estimate was for 40,000, so the street was off on this one. And how did you get there? Well, goods producing shed 19,000 workers, service producing shedding 13,000 workers. But the big story here, and I'll show you more detail on this, is what's happening with small business, down 120,000. Medium and large business doing okay, up 51 and 39,000 respectively. But take a look at this chart here. Virtually all of the job losses have come from small business, which has been negative in 6 of 7 months since April. Without those losses, ADP numbers would actually be positive, but you can't get rid of it. You can't exclude small business. And then you look at it by sector. Well, we've seen those two sectors do it. Education, health services, leisure, and hospitality leading the way. But manufacturing down, information down, and professional business services down by 26,000. At least according to ADP, additional weakness in the job market and small business getting hammered. And there is some information that some of this may be coming from being hammered by the tariffs.
Just a little indication that potentially this is all coming from being hammered by the tariffs. Maybe. I mean, outside chance. What's the problem with just saying it? It's what we're seeing. It's what we're experiencing. It's what we've noticed. Just say it, bro. So we've 32,000 job loss, and they estimated 40,000 add-ons. Isn't that weird? Isn't it weird how that keeps happening? But we just keep moving on and acting like everything that they're saying makes any kind of sense. So at what point? I mean, look, it's the beginning of December. At what point do we expect this golden age to kick in? Washington Post put together this mashup, and man, I'm a little jealous of it because it was really well done.
January 20th will turn the economy around very quickly. The United States is going to take off like a rocket ship, but really it's already doing it.
These prices are coming down, and the process starts April 2nd. That's a whole lot of growth, and you're going to get that starting in the fourth quarter.
This is Biden, and you can even say the next quarter is sort of Biden because it doesn't just happen on a daily or an hourly basis.
The one big beautiful bill will start kicking in, I predict, in the fourth quarter, and I think 2026 could be gangbusters.
Our big year won't be really next year. I think it'll be the year after, because when these plants start opening up, it takes a period of time to build them.
Our economy, the Donald Trump economy, is coming in the beginning of next year.
Those companies, they're all coming back now to the United States. And you're going to see that kick in probably in a year or so.
Mm-hmm. So,
but we're doing well anyway.
I think we are going to see a substantial acceleration in the economy in the second quarter.
You are going to see job numbers in the second half of next year that are going to blow you away?
I am very optimistic about the first, second, and accelerating into the third quarter in terms of growth.
It's going to take a little bit of time for every American to feel that economic boom, which we really do believe is coming. We believe that we're on the front end of it.
Is it here yet? We keep looking for it as they demand that interest rates drop, or even as they've seen those issues, I think on Fox News or Business as well, as they've seen those bad job numbers. They're like, well, maybe interest rates will drop. That's what they're waiting on, even though they're demanding interest rates to drop with the claim that the economy is booming, that we're in the golden age.